All right. Perfect. Awesome. I'm excited. Perfect, perfect. Welcome back. Hello, it is Jasmine, and I am excited about today's conversation because I'm going to be talking about my team's training. I have a team training for the freelancers on my team. If you guys don't know, I currently have about 18 freelancers, and then I have some extended freelancers as well. I'm going to be talking about what the process looked like for me to like prep and plan. I'm going to be talking about some growth plans that I have for my Bridal business. I'm going to be talking a little bit about why I had the idea of possibly selling my business and what I'm actually going to do instead. I'm also going to be talking about transitioning yourself out of your Bridal business. If you guys don't know, I have been transitioning myself out of my business since 2019, and I'm very excited about the trajectory that we're on right now. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about a special announcement that I want to share with you guys. So I'm pumped up. This is a Instagram Live plus YouTube for the podcast, my Beauty in the Network podcast that is officially back. Okay, but I'm pumped up. I have my notes down here, so don't mind me if I look down. But let's go ahead and jump on into the conversation. So, my team's training. It was this past Monday. Today is Wednesday, so it was like a day and a half ago. And the biggest reason why I wanted to have a team training is because I wanted to increase the number of lead artists who would take brides, right? So, if you guys don't know, the way that I structure my Bridality team is I have lead artists. Those are artists who typically take the bride plus bridal party. I have second artists. Those are artists who only work with like bridesmaids or moms. Their speed isn't as fast as the lead artist, but I do like to book them with the bridal party. And then I have assistants, and assistants are basically there to help curl prep, skincare prep, set up, take down, touch ups before we leave, as well as getting some behind the scenes. So that is how I structure out my team. But going into what my growth plans look like, if you guys have been tuning into the podcast or watching over here on Instagram, then you guys know that I have been intentionally building myself out of my business. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But in order for me to build myself out of my business, I need to make sure that the freelancers who are currently showing up in my Bridal Beauty business, that they are fully confident, fully equipped, and have the resources that they need in order for them to start taking brides in a way where I know that the show is going to be ran the same exact way if I was there, so that I can be confident knowing that I have fully prepared my artists to run weddings without me. A big mistake that I see a lot of bridal beauty pros make, especially when they want to grow and scale with the team, is that they are the people or they're the main person who is getting booked with the bride. And this can work for you for a couple of the first few years. But if you are sacrificing, family time, time with your spouse, time for yourself, time for your family, just so that you can be placed with all of the brides and not necessarily utilize your team in a way that reduces your to-do list, you are always going to cap yourself. You're always going to cap yourself because you are increasing the number of hats that you are wearing in your business. You are the marketing person, you're the email person, you are the connections person, you are on location person, you are the training person. And if you want to start a studio, I know a lot of people are starting their own studios, which is so exciting. But up your own studio, if you are wearing all of those hats, plus you're going to open up a studio or opening up a salon and staffing your salon and staffing your studio, you now have a long list of to-dos that only you can do. Now, let's talk a little bit about growth plans, and then I'll go a little bit back into what all I actually did for my team's training. So, growth plans for me looks like baby and I, we are planning on starting a family this year. That is whenever things take off. Okay, but we're trying to plan for our family this year. And one of the main things that I really want as a future mom going into mommyhood is I want to be able, whenever I become pregnant, to not have to be on location. I want the most cool, calm, collected, relaxed pregnancy that there is. And I'm saying this because in my family that there's no such thing as that in my family, because we know hustle, we know grind, we know survival. And if you kind of identify as the black sheep in your family, maybe your perspective is a little bit different on how you show up and operate. Maybe your viewpoint is a little bit different. Maybe you're the only one in your family who has a business or who has a company. Sometimes we feel like there's a lot of pressure on ourselves, but I really encourage you to try and do things differently. Do things in a way that makes sense for you and how you want your household to be ran, right? So my growth plans is I want to have a business that can run 100% without me. And a few years ago, anytime when I would work with a coaching client, my thing was, build a business that can run almost without you, right? But now it's literally build a business that can run without you. And that's because this year, my main goal is hiring a manager. And that manager would basically take over the roles that I am doing, which is communicating with my team, booking them out on weddings, in the booked process of my client experience, right? So right now I have my social media assistant who helps with lead attraction. So we have another person that helps generate sales in the business. I also have my email customer service care assistant who helps me with my inquiry process. So all the way up until the booked process and attracting clients, I have help there. And then once they are booked, then that's when I take over and then I navigate the conversations on the back end with my automation and my time-based milestone and scheduling out my team. So that is where my business is at right now. But of course, I want to have a manager, and that manager would basically take over my role. So that way, like I said, if I do become pregnant, then I would literally be able to sit on the couch and someone else can completely run my business without me. And that kind of goes into one of the conversation pieces that I had for today. And that was me thinking that I wanted to sell my business. And before I go into me wanting to sell my business and what I'm deciding to do, instead, let me talk a little bit more about the prep that I put into place when it comes to my team's training. So, in total, just so you guys know numbers, it cost me almost $2,000 to put together my team's training, and that was because I rented out a space. I wanted to make sure that I had a big enough space for my artists. Like I said, I have 18 freelancers, but I also have extended freelancers on my team. That just means freelancers who get booked out on weddings, but they're not my core freelancing staff. They are more if one of my artists is sick, then that is a person who I reach out to if they're available, right? So I had a studio. The studio, it was $75 an hour. It was huge, okay? And it was gorgeous. It also used to be a kitchen remodeling or like a showroom for different kitchen spaces. So it had like gorgeous granite countertops and it was just so beautiful. So I was really excited that we were able to use that. So in total, with the hours that I had booked the space for, I want to say it was like $250 to maybe like almost like 270, maybe $280. So that's how much I spent for the space rental. I also got models for each of my artists. Models are free, so that was awesome. I literally posted in some local community groups, just seeing like who wants to get pampered on a Monday, and we had a lot of people who kind of volunteered to be our model and just hang out, eat some food, have some snacks. So that was amazing. The next thing was education. So I actually hired a makeup artist. She actually did my makeup for my wedding day, but she came out and to book her, it was a little bit over $1,000 because one, she's been getting booked out for her amazing artistry, her aesthetic, and she has also invested a lot of money into, perfecting her craft, making sure that she has the right products, the techniques that she uses on her clients, and that she used on me on my wedding day. So her spending time to come out and teach, my artists, that costs. a little bit of an investment. So that was a little bit over $1,000. Um, I printed out some resources. The resources came from the artist who was our educator. Her name was Dominique, and she had, the product list that she had face charts, and so many other goodies. So I printed out those things. I created a folder for everyone. So that cost a little bit under $10. And then I hired a behind the scenes photographer. And that behind the scenes photographer just took, behind the scenes photos, and they got headshots of all of my artists that day. So that way, my education day for my artists, it actually turned into a nice content day. So we have some amazing photos that I can post on my website, create resources for each of my team members, and so many other things, right? So that's what the prep looked like. Now, obviously, it takes a lot of energy when it comes to creating a team training for your team. But if you are serious about having other people really show up and just be able to book them on weddings without you necessarily having to show up with them, that takes time, that takes effort, and that also takes a lot of prepping. So that is what it looked like on the back end for me to prep all of these details. But going back into why I decided not to sell my business. So when it comes to why I didn't want to sell my business, I really wanted my business to serve me long after I am gone, right? So what I mean by that is, of course, my business right now, I have reviews. I think we have almost 100 reviews. If you put all of our reviews based upon different platforms together, we have almost 100 reviews. Plus, we have the systems, the flows, so that anybody can easily step into the back end of my business and run it and manage it just how I would. We have amazing connections. We're on vendors referral list. We're on big news recommendations list. We have so many things that makes our business a really valuable asset to buy into. So of course, I could make a good amount of money selling my business, but I didn't want to just have quick cash and then ask myself, okay, well, now what, right? I want my hard work to pay off for my future kids, for my future grandkids, for my future grandkids, right? So I wanted to really utilize my business to build generational wealth in my family. So that is why I decided that I really wanted to um, go and find someone who can run and manage my business. This has been something that I have been thinking about for a long time, just creating businesses and then hiring other people to run and manage it for me. So that way, I'm not creating multiple businesses and increasing my workload, but I'm increasing my profit in multiple different areas, right? So that is one of the reasons why I decided not to sell my business. And what that transition looks like is each year you have to set a goal for yourself, right? So if you don't have a goal for yourself, and I'll kind of break this down what this looks like. If you don't have a goal for yourself, you are going to probably say, oh, well, you know what? This year, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to, focus on XYZ, right? And maybe you say that for the first couple of months, but maybe the next set of months come along and you say the same thing. And maybe next year comes along and we're still focusing on the same thing. Maybe 2 years go by and you still have the same exact problem as what you started off with. And this is because we have to learn how to rotate our focus, right? And what I mean by this is, if you want to have a team, if you want to scale your business, you have to understand where to prioritize your time and energy and when, right? So what that looks like for me is, I knew that I wanted to reduce the number of weddings that I took, right? Currently, right now, I'm taking on about 2 to 3 weddings on average, versus when I first started in my bridal beauty business with my team, I was taking on like 10 weddings, 12 weddings a month. And even though the money was great, I never had free time. I was always tired. I was always drained. I was always traveling for a trial, always traveling for a wedding. I was always at home doing admin. And the time that I did have, to myself, I felt like I need to catch up and work. Or I felt like, oh, well, if I go on this vacation, like the workload is just going to pile on top of itself. And if you're living and operating like this in your business, it's dangerous. It's so dangerous because we will start to resent our business and we will feel like our business is no longer for us, right? So, this is why I tell people I'm not a fan of copy and paste business models because how I want my business to serve me is going to be completely different from how your business might serve you if you have kids or if you want to be able to travel, or if you want to book your team, but you're living in a completely different state, right? Like I do, right? So going from taking 12 weddings a month or 10 weddings a month to 2 to 3, it required a lot of prep and planning. But the first thing that you have to understand is your vision. Your vision is going to navigate every single decision that you make in your business. And if you don't understand your vision, you're not going to understand who you need to hire, when you need to hire them, how many weddings you want to take, who your actual ideal bride is. And I don't mean like your ideal bride, like, oh, she wants natural glam and that's what I specialize in, or she wants romantic boho hair and that's what I specialize in. That's not what I mean when I say your ideal bride. I mean, ideal bride, like, what is the ideal spend amount that your bride is going to be spending with you, right? What is the ideal head count of services that they are going to be booking, right? What is your ideal package that most of your brides are going to book you with, right? These are things that we need to understand because this is going to help us future predict how much money we're going to make that year with the specific number of weddings that we're going to book. But when it comes to the number of weddings that we're booking, we also need to understand, okay, who's a great fit and who isn't a great fit, right? This is how we start to qualify the clients that we want to work with, right? And if we don't understand that, it's going to be so hard to create the systems, to create the marketing, to create a team to take on, other weddings that you're not going to be taking. And it's going to be very hard for you to have a cohesive training experience for them because we have so many different things going on and there's not really any cohesive flows or predictions going on in your business, right? The way that a lot of businesses are able to scale and grow is because of predictability. And if you don't have the systems, resources, structures, or training resources for those people who are going to be stepping into your business, it's going to be a lot of guessing work, or you might end up hiring someone to help you in a certain area. And maybe what they do isn't necessarily aligned with how you want to service your clients or the experience that you want to create, or so many other things. And this can leave us spending a lot of money in our business and not necessarily getting the result that we're looking for, right? So when we are doing this, this is hurting our business, but we're also learning, right? And what most people do is that they get completely turned off from hiring help in their business or completely turned off from working with a coach because maybe their last experience wasn't necessarily what they thought it was going to be. But I really encourage you, find something that you can take away from your past coaching experience, your past experience in a course, your past experience, wherever, something that you have learned from it, right? Because if we don't learn from it, we're just going to try and protect ourselves in a way that is going to limit ourselves. And this isn't the proper way to expand. It's just not, because you're always going to be focusing on the past versus focusing on the opportunities that you have coming up, right? So the transitioning period of that requires a lot of planning, right? This means that you have to be on the ball with your time management. And time management has been something that I struggled with for a long time. And that is the main reason why you guys hear me talk a lot about time management, because I speak from my personal experience. I used to have so many goals that I would write down in my notebook at the beginning of each year, at the beginning of each quarter, at the beginning of each month. And I would be so defeated and feel so deflated at the end of that month, quarter, or year, looking at my goals list and feeling like I didn't even do any of this. I didn't accomplish any of this, right? And it was because I was putting too much on my plate. I was saying yes to everybody else and saying no to myself. I was having FOMO of opportunities. And these things are shiny object syndrome, right? You have to be able to spend your time wisely. Time is the one thing that you cannot get back after you have spent it. So I really want you to start analyzing, how can I be more mindful about the decisions that I'm going to be making in my business so that I'm making the right choices. I'm making the right decisions, right? But also, I want you to understand that you decide what is right and wrong, right? Because there is no right or wrong. It's how you view things. Things are just as it is. That's not a better choice. That's not a wrong choice. It's just a choice. And if you choose this and if you choose that, you're going to get results. And how you show up to the results determines, are you going to keep going? Are you going to keep pushing forward? Are you going to keep testing? Or are you going to throw in the towel? And for me, I kept throwing in the towel because I felt like I was making the wrong decisions, the wrong choices, and I didn't want to continue to let myself down. So I did nothing at all. And not making a choice or avoiding a conversation or avoiding the things that you need to in order to grow your business, you deciding not to make a decision at all is avoidance. And that's not going to help you. So I don't want you to do that. Okay. So transitioning is huge and it requires prep, it requires planning, it requires check in points, it also requires a bigger level or a higher level of self awareness. So let's talk a little bit about friend. Let's talk a little bit about one thing that I want to mention before I talk about an announcement. So when it comes to building out your business model, if you've been here for a while, if you've been listening to my podcast, if you're here watching me for the first time over here on YouTube, then I want to tell you I have a framework that I have created when it comes to building out my sustainable business model. Now, I do not believe in copy and paste business models, as I mentioned prior. And the reason for this is because if a coach can only teach you how to build their business model, but not necessarily tell you the reasonings behind their actions, why they do things, how they do things, what to do in different scenarios, how to tweak and how to problem solve, then that is very dangerous, right? Because we might see someone saying, okay, well, I'm making XYZ in my business, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that. And then they show you exactly how to do it. And then you realize you're burnt out 24/7. You're tired and exhausted 24/7, but your bank account is looking amazing. But we have to really focus on what we want to value. Do we want to value the money or do we want to value our relationships? Do we want to value our mental health or do we want to value, just get into the bag, right? And the reason why I want to say this is because how you start something is how you finish it, right? And when we have higher levels of self awareness, we now can see, okay, well, if I continue to operate this way, my relationship is not going to be here, once I'm done, right? Or my mental health is, deteriorating. Or, I never see my kids. I'm always late. I'm always on the phone. I'm always, in my business. And I never have time for my family, right? If you are operating this way, based upon how someone is to you, you have to speak up for yourself and say, you know what, maybe this doesn't align with me anymore. Maybe there's another way that I can still create the business that I want, but there has to be a more sustainable way. And the way that you find the sustainability is by testing. So for my business model, it spells out CASH. It spells out cash because I believe that you can have a profitable bridal beauty business that is sustainable in a way where it shows up and allows you to run your business around your life, right? And not run your life around your business. How I know a lot of people are doing. Oh, well, I have to figure out when I can get pregnant and I have to get pregnant in slow season or whatever, right? Like we are literally planning our entire lives around our business versus allowing our life to be planned around our business, right? There's a totally different approach. And when we approach it from you being in control, this means that now you get to dictate the decisions. And the way that you dictate the decisions is going to help you navigate the systems that you need, the resources that you need to create, who you need to hire, or what things you need to automate in your business, and so many other things. And without this, you are going to feel like business is going to be, drowning you, right? So the C stands for creating the base. And this is where we get a lot of clarity on our vision, right? So this means understanding our prices, understanding our ideal client, understanding what packages we need to create, and how we want to position ourselves. This is called the 4 P's of marketing, right? Pricing, package, position, and promotion, right? How are we going to create a base of our brand so that we know exactly how to navigate, right? Another thing that's in the base of your brand is your business model. Your business model can be high volume, low sales, like mine. So that uh, high ticket, low volume, like mine, or high volume, low sales, right? So what that looks like is if you have high volume of booking, that means you're competing on frequency. How many weddings can I book, right? We don't necessarily have a goal. We're just like, how many weddings can I book? Maybe if you are just trying to book the most weddings, maybe your prices aren't necessarily premium, right? Now, if you have high ticket, low volume, I think I said that backwards. So if you have high ticket, low volume, like I do, for example, we have 40 brides that we book per year. So that means 40 brides per year, and on average, the amount of money that a bride spends with my Bridal Beauty team is between $2,500 to $3,000. So that means we're going to make a little bit over 6 figures just with 40 brides, right? But here's some things that I want you to also think about. You can make over 6 figures, but by the time you pay for your expenses in your business, the expenses in your everyday life, paying out your team, that's not 6 figures. That's not 6 figures. That's like probably not even $50,000, right? Depending on how frequently you're booking your team and your expenses and all of those details, right? That's not 6 figures. So the reason why I am very big on understanding my business model is because I have a hybrid business model. So it means I'm not just focusing on booking bridal beauty clients. I have strategic upsells and downsells, and I also have a passive branch of my business. So that looks like I have Amazon affiliate links that I share with my brides, share in blogs. I have a HoneyBook referral link that allows me to make commissions anytime someone signs through HoneyBook with my code. I have digital products that I utilize in my business so that I can create it once and have money pouring into my account, whenever someone buys. I have my membership, and then I also have one-on-one coaching. So I have different areas that allow me to make money in my business. And this is a bigger part of my business's growth plan, right? How are you showing up right now towards your growth plan? Or are we just saying, oh, well, one day when I have the time, I'm going to focus on this. Or one day when I have time, I'm going to start planning out my exit plan or my retirement plan or my whatever. Friend, it takes a lot of testing, a lot of improving, a lot of fine tuning the process in order for you to really allow that to be on autopilot. So I encourage people to start sooner than later. But the first thing that you have to simplify is your Bridal Beauty business. Simplify that first and then branch out, right? Versus trying to sell that affiliate link, that product, that service, that thing over there, and this, and your Bridal Beauty services. If you are testing, trying to sell a bajillion things at once, do you think that you're going to be, amazing at selling all of those things at once? You have to bring things in periodically, right? And the way that we do that is by rotating our focus. So when I know what I'm selling, I'm able to spend my time in my business in a way that's going to allow me to reap those benefits from the things that I want to sell, how I want to sell, so that I know, okay, if my Bridal Beauty business is bringing in over 6 figures, I know with my digital products, my passive income, my affiliated links, online coaching, my membership, that I'm still making way over 6 figures, maybe 6 figures plus with these different avenues because my business is diversified, right? So I really want you to think long term versus short term. And I want you to start prepping and planning for those things that you want to create in your business so that you understand where to prioritize your time. So that's C, right? And A is attraction, right? So just kind of giving you a little bit of a deeper dive. If I know I want to attract brides to my business, if I know that I want to attract the right freelancers to my business, if I know that I want to attract, the right people who are going to sign up for my affiliated programs or my digital products or coaching or my membership or whatever it is, that's two different ideal clients. That's three different ideal clients, right? And this can get a little bit tricky sometimes because depending on who you're talking to, one person might say you need to only have one ideal client. Somebody might say, hey, you might need to create different avenues for people to buy in your business. And in order for you to do that, you have to have multiple ideal clients. There's some people who will tell you you just need to focus on one. And there's going to be some people who tell you that you can focus on more than one, right? You have to make that decision for yourself, right? So when it comes to having these multiple ideal clients, this is going to allow you to understand, okay, in quarter one, I'm going to focus on my visibility so that I can gain more eyes for my passive product that I want to sell during Black Friday. I'm just going to spend 2 quarters of building up my visibility so that I have these people in my audience when I want to go in promotion mode, right? Do you see how understanding the vision allows you to figure out how to prioritize your time, right? And how to prioritize your energy and when and where to focus on what thing in your business so that we're not trying to do too many things at once, but we're showing up with an intention and a purpose that is also going to pour into other avenues that allows us to look like the expert as we are building out our different ideal clients, right? So that is A, right? Your attraction. And you're going to need different attraction strategies for your different ideal clients, right? So the S is your systems. Once we know what we're going to sell, who we're going to sell it to, now we need to know what systems do we need in order to put this on autopilot to simplify the process. That means you have to understand what automations might be needed and when. What templates for your emails you need to create. Maybe what features in your CRM system that's going to help you simplify your process and allow you to take on more clients or more bookings or more one-on-ones or whatever it is, if that is something that you want to do, because now you are creating for that long-term vision versus, oh, well, we're not ready for that yet. But when are you going to get ready for it? When are you going to prepare for it? How are you just going to let your goals and ideas and dreams live in your notebook? We have to start preparing for it. And that can be scary. And that's why a lot of people procrastinate and they get ducks in a row syndrome. Like one of my current coaches used to say, don't get ducks in a row syndrome, because we're not going to do anything if we get ducks in a row syndrome. We can't clean the house before the cleaners come. We just got to let them come in and help us navigate the situation, right? So that kind of goes for, searching for help, for someone who can literally navigate us through those things that we want to do in our business, right? That might be a course, that might be a coach, that might be a strategy session, whatever it is. Um, so those things are very important, right? So after we have those systems, now here comes the last part, H. And it's kind of corny, but I use H as hook them in with another sale. How can you hook them in with another sale? This is where I talk about, my intentional upsales and downsells, right? So with this is your monetization. How are you going to utilize intentional ways to add in passive income into your business after you have figured out who are you building for, what are you building, how are you going to attract them, how are you going to create this system to simplify it for those things, and how can you actually build in some back end ways where you can make income from those affiliated links, commission sales, passive products, one-on-one. Maybe you have a makeup masterclass that's on a replay, whatever it is, right? These are things that are going to help you scale your business without taking away your time, because now we know exactly what we want to prioritize, when we're going to build, when we're going to focus on what thing in our business. And this is literally why I love to share my process, how I think, what I do in my business, so that maybe it can help you as well. So this CASH is literally my framework that I teach my clients. And of course, in the C, in the A, in the S, and in the H, there's so many different things that I didn't go over. I didn't even talk a little bit about my 3-step phase of build, test, automate when it comes to creating your system, my CARE framework of how to create your email templates, my RISE framework when it comes to creating intentional content that revolves on a cyclical cycle so that we know how to get visible in month one, how we can nurture our clients for those people who just found us, and how to go in a heavy sales promotion at the end of each quarter and literally repeat it every single quarter, right? I'm very intentional about what I do, and I love to just simplify the process because I felt like there wasn't necessarily anything out there that really taught Bridal BD business pros how to simplify all areas of their business. And that is why I created my CASH framework that I share in my membership, which is called the Anti-Hustle Bridal BD Business Owner Society, and my private one-on-one coaching experience for those who want to become teen owners and really scale in a way that is very simple and allow them to live the life that they want. Kind of similar to what I'm doing. I have my social media assistant, I have my email assistant, and then this year I'm hiring out my manager so that I can be absolutely 100% out of my business. And that is going to allow me, so many other opportunities to do so many other amazing things in my business. And this is what I want for you. And the main thing that I want to tell you about is 2 announcements before I go. The first announcement is I am going to be hosting a workshop, Fred, on March 21st. That is a Tuesday. And this workshop is going to be amazing, guys. It's going to be amazing. And what we're going to be doing is I want to show you how you can start focusing in the right areas, the right time periods, how to navigate your own personal, like your own yearly focus plan based upon what your big goals are, so that we know what we're focusing in quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that every single quarter you are chopping down your bigger goal and having smaller achievements that build up to that bigger thing versus us feeling like we don't have the time, we don't have the energy, because at the end of the day, if we don't start prepping, if we don't start planning, we are going to be 2 years from now feeling like we're in the same exact place. And I don't want that for you, because that was literally my life for the first 3 years that I had a business. It was too hard, and it was very easy for me to just go and work and freelance for someone else versus me trying to figure it out. So I don't want you to spend those years of just having imposter syndrome and feeling like, is this for me? Am I way in over my head? So I want to give you that. I want to give you some clarity. I'm going to be sending out an email to my newsletter list right after this, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about it. And the pre-sale tickets are going to be available today. Okay, so I'm very excited about that. But the second announcement that I have is the allergies died, sorry. But the second announcement that I have is my membership is going to be drastically enhancing. So like I said, I have a membership that's called the Anti-Hustle Bridal Beauty Business Owner Society. And in this membership, I am just going to be integrating more lifestyle, more intentional planning, emails that get to your inbox weekly so that you know exactly how to prioritize your energy, where to focus your time every single week, every single month, so that we are really making big shifts and changes in our business. And I really want to kind of blend some of the things that I do in my personal life so that you can also do that as well. So I'm very excited. So stay tuned for all of those details. I'm going to pop off of here, and I really want you guys to head to your emails. If you're not on my email newsletter list, what are you doing? Go over on Instagram and just email me your email address, and I'll put you in there if you're not already in there, because it is invite only. So I'm so excited. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream over here on YouTube. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to comment below. Ask me any questions. Send me a message here over on Instagram. I always love getting you guys' messages. So please don't think that you're bothering me. I love to talk. I love to have conversations. So with that being said, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, friends.